All right, so let's do it. Let's introduce this. So we're taking a walk from St Mildred's Bay until maybe Birchington.
Whenever this promenade
until we get
path
bored.
stops. No,
Okay.
because it stops. You can't go any further. Then you have to come back. It's either at Minnie's Bay or I think maybe Apple Bay.
Anyway, we're going for a little walk,
Find out.
and we are going for a ramble on a ramble, aren't we?
A ramble and a ramble. We'll just be rambling both ways.
Because we just end up chatting rubbish while we're out, don't we?
A lot of the time, but sometimes we say very profound stuff about life, and yeah, it's not just silly talk.
Yeah.
Although silly talk is like really, what's needed in life, I think. More than anything, silly talk.
So we thought we'd record it and just see whether it's something that people like listening to.
Exactly. Well said. Sun is making an appearance behind the clouds.
Yeah, it's burning through.
Quite a nice beach. St Mildred's Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of these houses just behind there that I came to see, like when I was trying to look for a place to live. No, actually, maybe that one even.
Mm.
Yeah, just behind the beach. The beach huts, the beach
Right.
houses.
Okay. You mean the beach houses?
The beach houses.
Go on then, take a photo of it.
Beach houses.
Yeah, exactly. Leah's from Greece, so we have a lot of these.
We don't have many E's. We only have one E. Not E and E. E. When you say E. Short E for everything. Same
Anyway.
with all the vowels.
Yeah. Anyway, it gives me a lot of entertainment in our chats. Because once in a while a word pops out. Leah was once telling me about how she needed to get home because she needed clean sheets on her bed. Oh,
I don't know what I
we got
mean.
3 or 4 minutes out of that one, didn't we? Go on, take a picture of this house that you were talking about.
I did.
Oh, okay,
I wanted to take a picture of the beach.
go on then.
The beach.
Yeah. So there are now some particular words that Leah says in a very English way. Aren't there? Just so you get some peace, isn't it?
Yeah, I like my peace. Peace and quiet.
Exactly, peace and quiet. Otherwise I'm giving you too much stick for the way that you pronounce things.
Yeah, but it's free comedy. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. What a cute dog.
So there used to be like a paddle pool here. Like, we have the tidal pools in Margate,
Yeah.
kind of main sands and Walpole Bay. There is a tiny one here as well.
So is this broken or is it leaking or why isn't it keeping the water in?
Because it's filled with sand. I don't think it's in use anymore. Unless they clean it at some stage, I'm not sure. But there used to be, probably, I guess we can go and look it up, maybe in Victorian times or when they were building those things in the first place.
Take a photo of it.
It's just next to the cliffs and just white cliffs on one side and just the sea on the other side. And it's just very, I don't know, I love it. You forget, like civilization is behind you.
People usually say that when they're walking towards Herne Bay. I don't know why I picked Herne Bay for that joke. It was just, Herne Bay's lovely. Okay.
Because now there are no people.
Okay.
I don't know if we can put pictures with people.
Yeah, of course you can.
I want you in the picture. Let's have
Well,
a second one.
rude.
You can
It's
take,
so
you can
rude.
take a
Rude.
second one. Look,
Come on, hurry up.
it's really lovely.
People coming.
Yeah, you want one.
No.
Anyway, isn't it beautiful though? Like beautiful. I love this. Just this proximity to the sea, and I think this is a really nice. Yeah, from St. Mildred's Bay. And I think now we are arriving to. Which one is that? Is it? Let's see. Is it Finnish Bay? No, Finnish Bay is further down, I think.
Yeah. Well, you see Reculver off there in the distance.
It is the Westgate Bay now.
Is it?
The next one, St. Mildred's Bay, and then it is Westgate Bay, and the next one is Apple Bay, and it's actually just before Apple Bay that this, how do you call this, promenade
Yeah.
path? Yeah, the promenade path stops, and you have to go around on the main road to pick up the seaside coastal path on the other side, and that's like on Apple Bay. Apple Bay is really picturesque, quite natural. I mean, depending, now that the tide is coming in, it will be really lovely, and you usually have quite a bit of wildlife, cormorants and lots of other birds.
Like all the wading birds. The ibis. All the wading birds. Wading birds.
Waiting.
Because they wade in the water. They walk along in the shallow water. That's called wading.
So wading is walking in shallow water, or is it
Yes.
the thing that?
No, people do. People can do.
How do you say
What, a duck walking
not walking when they're not walking?
when they're swimming?
Is it swim?
Yeah.
And what they do with their feet?
Yeah. No, that's swimming. That's not wading.
Is it
Wading
not-
is.
even like, but they're not swimming really.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
They're kicking with their legs.
They're.
They're kicking with their legs. That's
So there
swimming.
isn't this. We must invent a specific word for that if there isn't,
Okay.
or try and see whether there actually is a word.
But wade, like if you,
More beach huts.
there are more beach huts. So people wade in the water as well. You might roll up your trouser legs to your knees, and then walk along the beach. You know, with the water just up to your ankles. That's wading.
Good. I learned.
This is what the birds do, and this is why they're called wading
We
birds.
don't have a word for ducks. Their legs like.
We do but it's swimming.
Paddling.
Okay, well we can go for
Would you
paddling.
go
Yeah, you can go
ducks
for paddling.
Would that be?
You would say ducks swimming, but paddling will work as well.
It's just that movement of the feet, and it's interesting. Which is like a paddle.
It is like a paddle, yeah. Paddling is probably a better word than swimming. It's just nobody uses it.
I love the smell of the sea, the seaweed, really.
Well, it's only March. You won't be saying that in July. It is lovely here in July, August, when I suppose because it's late evenings, you know, it won't get dark until, well, the sun doesn't set until about 9:10 here, does it? At the end of June. But then when the tide's in, the kids are on summer holidays and we're all sort of jumping in the water and swimming. It's really, it feels like holiday.
Oh my God, these dogs are amazing.
Newfoundlands. And Newfoundlands?
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. I knew you were going to slobber on me, aren't you, if I stroke you?
Oh.
Oh,
Storm.
wow, what a thick coat.
I know.
But they're warm in the winter, aren't they? Yeah,
They'll be struggling soon.
yeah. Right, have a good day.
I really like that beach. Definitely need to be making an effort and try new places to swim. I mean, I am wearing my bikini now. Could just go and
Go on.
yeah, I don't have a towel for after I come out.
Have you got a towel in the car?
I do. I actually wanted to ask you a favor, Dave.
Okay, go on.
You know how kind of with certain things I'm not gonna do them by myself.
Yeah.
This weird thing I have. So I want to go and buy a tire pump
Right.
for the bike
Okay.
and for the balls. The basketball and the football.
Right. Okay. Sometimes it's not an accent thing, is it, Leah? Are you doing this deliberately because I'm recording?
No, I wasn't. I mean, my balls are deflated.
Okay.
Like, through the winter, I haven't played with them at
Oh,
all.
okay. Yeah.
And I've noticed now that it's spring, and I was like, oh, it will be nice to go and throw some hoops. I noticed.
Okay, so you need to pump up your balls.
Both balls are deflated.
Okay.
And I'm guessing, I haven't checked the bike tires, but it will be the same pump, no?
The same pump?
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
So
you
we'll
can
go-
get. Yeah. You might have to. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. We'll go up to the shop and get you a pump
For my balls.
for your balls and your bike.
I'm gonna piss myself. Stop. Stop. Now what piss was that?
Yeah, I know exactly. I couldn't tell. Could only tell from context.
Poor balls. They haven't been played all winter. I mean, why not play during the winter as well?
Exactly.
Because I was hibernating and I didn't want to leave the sofa. It was so cold. I was just by my lovely fireplace, and it was terrible. Like, really, it wasn't that much the cold. It was very windy again this winter. That wind wouldn't stop. How is anyone or the rain going to play? No, yeah, I'm very seasonal with things
Well,
like that.
It does get very windy in Margate.
Yeah, so not good for playing ball games.
No.
You need mild weather for that. I mean, we're not professionals. Nobody pays us to play in any weather.
No.
Exactly.
No. Well,
They get paid millions.
you want to stay in and watch football, don't you, in the winter?
Exactly. I watch them, the ones that get paid millions.
How are
And
Liverpool doing? Have you won anything yet?
We are
You're going to win the league.
on gear. Yeah, let's not jinx it. If we win the next 5 games, we win the league. Now I can forget what happened in the recent past because it's the internationals.
Crystal
saw-
Palace have been doing well.
Oh yes, you are through
Well, we're
the next round of
Well,
FA Cup.
quarter-final in the FA Cup, yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very good.
We're on track to finish 10th in the league again.
I mean, you might win the FA Cup this year. You know. Or
So-
let me take another picture.
Okay.
Like the skies are so dramatic this time of year. Sort of that, like it's usually like they're the nicest around.
Well, there's lots of layers of cloud. You've got the low layer, the low level, and then the higher level.
No, I
and-
mean like around the equinoxes. I think
Yeah.
that just, like I don't know what it is. It's just maybe the changing weather, and I've noticed you get a lot more interesting. Even the sunsets, they can get a lot more interesting colors and
Yeah.
shades, and I guess like winter is sort of dark and settled, and summer
Yeah,
more like open skies and
yeah.
blue, and it's a lot more interesting. Springtime and autumn time, you get more variety. The light as well, I don't know, maybe it has to do a little bit with where the sun is and the curvature of the earth and the axis, and just the light is, and the skies
Yeah, well,
just different.
it all plays together, doesn't it? Because you've got, wind is a result of uneven heating. So some areas of Earth or the water will heat up faster or more than other areas, and because they're warmer, they end up being like a higher pressure, and then that higher pressure will rush into a lower pressure area, and then they cool, become less active, and then the pressure there reduces, so there's air from higher pressure areas that rush in because it's always trying to equalize, and that's what causes wind.
What causes wind?
Difference in air pressure,
Oh,
and that happens on the ground, that happens
Yeah,
at, you can sometimes see clouds at different levels
how come then
that are blowing
like
blowing different air, blowing different
often in most parts of the world,
directions.
very often,
Mm.
like how it is calm in the morning at sunrise,
Yeah.
and it gets calmer again at sunset.
Mm.
So obviously it's not all the time, but is quite usual. So I guess you get more of a chance of windy weather happening at midday, or in the day when like broad daylight. Why is that? Is it less air pressure at sunrise and sunset? Does it change?
Yeah, I think
We need to ask a meteorologist.
we'll have a look. I'll take a guess. I would probably say that areas of the air above the sea might warm at a different rate to areas of air above land, which is what creates differences in air pressure.
But that happens inland. It's just the kind of, if you notice, like it's not just by the sea.
Yeah,
It's sort of just, as I said, not always, but I guess,
suppose as the
like even if you check the wind graphs,
yeah
there will be like these peaks, kind of lower wind measurements in sunrise and sunset on most days.
yeah
If you start observing them. I mean, like, does anyone ever go windsurfing or surfing, like sailing,
No.
first thing in the morning or at sunset? Usually, yeah, they don't, because
No.
there is not enough wind
No.
most of the days. They will get more of a chance, even if it's I mean, on a winter day.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I think that's when they
Yeah.
do. That's when mostly they will do hot air balloon launches. Would be at sunset or sunrise. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's and then usually at these times you'll go fishing. Sunrise and sunset
Yeah.
is just better, because they kind of see the first light.
Hmm.
They're driven by the light,
Yeah.
and then they kind of, again, as it gets darker, deeper in
Yeah.
with the sunset, they want to, they just want to be in the light. They're party animals. They want to be like having fun. They're like, if it gets dark, no fun.
My family live in Australia. They live on the bank of Lake Macquarie, which is in a town called Morisset. Yeah, the back garden has a jetty sticking out of it into Lake Macquarie. But at sunset, the fish jump out of the water and feed on the insects that are hovering just above the water. So I suppose the fish become more active. I mean, the fish there become more active. I suppose they're always in the water, but the time that they're used to feeding
It can be
is at
also
sunset.
dinner time.
Yeah.
It is.
That's
It
when
is-
they know that
I guess it's probably the last, then they know they have to go through a long
yeah.
night.
But that's when they know the fish
and
is.
there will be no food.
That's when they know that the insects and so on are going to be there for them to feed on. So that's when they come out
Maybe that
to
also
eat.
has to do with the wind, because if it is calmer,
Possibly. I mean, I presume that the insects are only there to feed as well.
it is nice.
So-
We are kind of useless. Like, it's just definitely not our field of expertise, and we're making some random guesses
I know.
and
I'm
giving,
furiously
you know,
mansplaining all of this to you, aren't I?
And me, I think stupid splaining, or ignorance splaining, we're both doing. But that's how all good science starts.
Well, we can always go back.
Sometimes the best scientists will get to resolve their biggest puzzles by some random stupid comment someone like us, ignorant to the field, will make.
Well, what we're going to do at the end of this is go back and sit in a pub and lounge.
No
or
pub,
sit in a-
because I have to drive.
Okay. So we'll go back and we'll do some research.
I'll
We'll
leave
sit
the
in,
car and then we sit in a pub.
and then we can do some research
Yeah.
and answer all of these questions.
All our random questions.
And we can see how stupid our comments have been.
If you switch on the TV,
Yeah.
they have liberated stupidity for everyone, for all of us, to be shamelessly stupid on air and off air, because that's what you you see a lot of that.
No, it's true,
let
yeah.
alone their commentaries. At least we take accountability
There's
of
more.
our ignorance, and
There's more
be careful.
Yeah.
Not all of the things we've said is kind of well researched and true.
Well, there's more stupidity around these days than. I mean, this is the best stupidity they've ever had. Nobody's ever seen stupidity like it.
I guess that makes it good for anyone. There is no harm of a little bit more of that. But yeah, I mean, really, it has its place. Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
In Finland, in primary school, they actually have a class of, I've read, I haven't been in primary school Finland to know. That's another thing, like fact checking. Maybe we should fact check that. But apparently they have
What are
a
you saying
class.
about checking?
Fact checking.
Right. Okay.
Fact.
Yes, we're going to check those facts.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Fact checking. Anyway,
We're going to stringently check. We're not saying that we're not going to check at all.
we are going to check
Yes,
that
we are
in
going to
Finland, in primary school, they have classes
Yeah.
on critical thinking, on basically teaching school kids how to do their research and identify whether what they've heard was true or it is pure nonsense or even like propaganda.
Well,
so
so-
they have actually classes to identify even the level of so not just critical thinking, but like the level of whatever is out there in the public.
Yeah.
Even if there is like a sinister element to it, in what I refer to as propaganda, that there is like manipulation intended, which is fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's a good idea.
It's great.
Everybody should do that. Probably be done in all schools.
Yeah, I was like, wonderful, that's like an education system. I had read before that actually, I mean, again, you read about all those things, and I'm not in Finland, and just have no idea to what extent it's true. Sometimes it's also misinterpretation, but apparently they are sort of curriculum free I guess maybe to a certain degree, like you kind of learn to read and count, but they have apparently their system that just allows kids to just learn what they want to learn according to their interest and strength. So it's not that everybody has to do like everything, like physics or geography, or maybe they are allowed to spend more time, I guess, in whatever field, or there probably are some, I don't know, I don't even know how it works. Maybe we should go and check how.
I've heard that there was a system in, I think it was a Scandinavian country, where the education in school, I'm not sure whether it runs through the whole sort of through primary, secondary, further education, but the education that they give in school isn't split up into subjects like history, geography, maths, literature, science, but actually they get projects which encompass all of those subjects and teach people how to kind of integrate all of those things in life. Because I used to struggle with knowing why we were doing particular subjects.
I struggle right now, and here and now, like what school? I struggle now more than when I was at school. What are you talking about?
I used to think, why do I need to know history? Why do I need to know that these are Dutch gables on a house, or that this house is Georgian or is Victorian, or styles of architecture that they would teach us in history? And then they would teach us things about the First World War, but I didn't really realise how I felt it was boring. Now I think history is one of the most exciting things, because it teaches us, history of politics or history of art, or
That's because we are old and we have our own history, and now you understand its value. You can't understand the value of something if you have none of it.
No, of course.
Zero. Like, what is that? Like, if you're 5 years worth of history.
But if you, but then putting it all together, like, even if you learned about Leonardo da Vinci in the early 16th century in Italy, it's only recently that I connected that to, well, actually at that time, Henry VIII was just becoming king. And because the theories of Leonardo da Vinci seem so much more advanced, not just his artwork, but his inventions and the way that he was thinking about the world, at the same time that we were burning Catholics at the stake.
Who was burning Catholics at the stake?
Henry VIII.
Was he?
Yeah.
He was actually burning them?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had no idea. I knew there was like a...
Yeah.
Well, talking about the value of history.
I think
kind of...
One of the Thomases, it was either Cromwell or Cranmer, or maybe both of them.
So you if you were a Catholic, you should, they could just...
We're going to check that as well. I'll be honest, I know that because I saw the Tudors.
And that's why, because I'm like literal, I take things literally.
Yeah.
So is it really burning them, or just basically killing them in any way?
No, it was burning. They would tie them to a stake that was built on top of a bonfire.
And then setting them on fire.
And then set light to it, yeah.
Like the witches as well. Was that true? Apparently that was true as well. They were actually burning women.
They were burning
women.
No, they were burning and drowning and... Yeah, I mean, they used to have these things called ducking stools.
The what?
Have you seen a ducking stool? So if you go to Canterbury,
No.
above the River Stour, out the back of one of the restaurants there, they've got this ducking stool.
What is that? Ducking stool?
Yeah, so it's a chair. So if they'd find a suspected witch and they'd put them in a ducking stool,
And then drown them.
which was a chair, and
Tie
they'd
them.
tie them and lower them into the water. Now, if they survived
They
that
were
without
definitely a witch.
if they survived that without drowning, they were a witch.
And if
But
they
if they
didn't,
if they died, then they weren't a witch.
but yeah, die either end, like lose situation.
Yeah.
You see, it's like when we were talking about stupidity, these kind of things are like the greatest, biggest proofs of the
Yeah.
stupidity of our species. Like, if this is not stupid, what is it? Like to kind of have a thing to,
Yeah,
to
but it's-
kill people just because you don't like them
Yeah.
is, like just.
Well, it
for
came
me,
down to
is-
beliefs, didn't it? It
it
came down
is,
to beliefs in
but
witchcraft and magic and
for
and
whatever reason, to kill another one of your. I mean, yeah, I guess.
but it was a belief that somebody could embody evil, which I suppose is what's happening now. We've kind of come back. We're sort of circling back from
No, it is bullying. It's just basically I'm stronger and you'll die. It's just bullying. That's all it is. Domination.
No, if it was
I'll
that,
show you.
if it was that, then it would happen to everybody.
Well, it happens to everybody that is weaker from anyone. Than in any sense, like weaker in terms. These days, it happens in terms of like wallet size.
Well, yeah, but it was happening legally then, because of a belief system. In, whatever, whether it was a
there are
religion
excuses.
or,
It's still like the most stupid thing.
Yeah. Well, it's othering, isn't it? I mean, there's witches just didn't believe in the same religion that was controlling the rest of the population.
But this is
and they
also what people were
counted
saying
unfavourably
about.
for that.
This is also what people were saying about witches. I guess it's not what the witches tell about themselves. This was the story that was like, yeah, this is what you were about.
Yeah.
These women might have been just very kind of good with aromatherapy or practical healing,
Yeah.
like making kind of like a doctor really, or a nurse.
Yeah.
Actually, and very good at it. So
But then it wasn't understood by people in power, and they decided they. Well,
I don't think it is that. It's like, if they find something to dislike you, it happens today as well. That's how,
what I'm saying.
How
but
it
it's
works.
about power. It's about control.
And then we make stories around it, but usually people killing people for any reason is not justified for like 99% of the situation. That's Leah's opinion. I own it.
So
if people
okay.
think otherwise.
So what's the 1%? When is it justified? Do we want to go down that road?
To go like I just, because I'm a highly logical person, that's the error margin. Because I don't want to be absolute.
Okay.
So I leave that.
So
This is the 1%
This is bleach
error
killing
margin.
99.9% of germs when it actually kills all of them. So you think?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. Is that exactly? It is a scientific error margin.
So you
I
say
leave
it's
it for
never
that.
justified to
so
kill?
that I am scientifically correct, I leave an error margin that is randomly set at 1%.
Fine.
So that nobody can call me that I'm an absolute. I talk in absolute terms, which doesn't exist for human beings.
Yeah.
So I maintain accuracy and correctness.
Okay.
Is it correctedness or correctness?
Correctness.
Correctness.
Yes.
Almost 30 years in England, still learning. My brain, is not very
you've taught us
strong. It's not very strong. I can't keep all that information.
No, you've taught us today that ducks waddle. That ducks paddle instead of swimming.
Waddle.
No, waddling. So waddling is what ducks do when they're walking. when they're
okay.
walking, because their bum waggles back to front as they're walking. But yes, when they're swimming, you taught us that they're paddling instead, which I think is probably right. So what do you think we have to look up when we get back? We have to look up whether ducks paddle or whether they swim.
We have to look for a loo. That's the one thing.
Okay, well that was a lovely walk, wasn't it? And your swim?
Yes, the swim was fantastic. It's just I love it. I'm definitely going back. It's a new favorite spot.
Very good. Right, well,
We are continuing our walk.
we
We
are.
left the beach. We are at Dane Park. And this is what we will be doing when we inflate those balls.
Yes. So we get you a
Play
pump for your
some-
balls.
My deflated balls, when they're inflated again, we'll play football
Yep.
and basketball at Dane Park. We'll just kick all those kids out and, take over.
Like normal.
Yeah, I mean, we are. I don't know. We take priority because we are here more early than they
Yeah.
are these days.
All right, so I'm using ChatGPT to have a look into some of the things we talked about.
Yeah.
And just see whether we were talking
Nonsense.
nonsense.
Or sense.
Yeah.
So what was it?
So I typed in, did Henry VIII burn people at the stake?
Yes.
ChatGPT says, yes, Henry VIII did burn people at the stake, primarily for religious reasons. While he's often remembered for his break with the Catholic Church and the establishment of the Church of England, he remained doctrinally conservative in many ways. He had both Protestant and Catholics executed, depending on political and religious climate of the time.
Basically, whoever he didn't like.
Yeah. Protestants were often burned at the stake for heresy, especially those who denied key Catholic doctrines like transubstantiation. We'll have to look up what that is.
That's another research point.
On the other hand, Catholics who refused to acknowledge Henry as the supreme head of the Church of England could be executed by hanging, drawing and quartering.
Basically, anyone that he didn't like.
I mean, that was the case
I
back
think
then.
this
Yeah.
is how the psychological response of, some people,
Yeah.
like the people pleasing response, was born.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do.
Yeah.
If you don't want to get burnt at stake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it says that both Thomas Cromwell and Thomas Cranmer were executed, though under different circumstances. So Thomas Cromwell was beheaded. But Thomas Cranmer, he was the Archbishop of Canterbury and a key figure in shaping Protestant reforms under Henry and Edward VI. However, after Henry's death, when his Catholic daughter Mary I, Bloody Mary, took the throne, she targeted him as a leading Protestant. Cranmer was arrested and imprisoned for heresy. Under pressure, he signed recantations, briefly accepting Catholic beliefs. But when he was sentenced to burn at the stake, he dramatically renounced his recantations, reaffirming his Protestant faith. On March 21st, 1556, his execution in Oxford, he thrust his right hand into the flames first, saying he had sinned by signing the recantations. He died as a Protestant martyr. So, I typed into ChatGPT, why is it less windy around sunrise and sunset? It's quite a concise answer. The wind tends to be calmer around sunrise and sunset because of the way the Earth's surface heats and cools throughout the day. This is due to temperature difference and atmospheric mixing. So it splits it into three headings: daytime heating and turbulence. During the day, the sun heats the ground, which in turn warms the air above it. This creates convective mixing, where warm air rises and cooler air sinks, generating turbulence and stronger winds. Nighttime cooling and stability. At night, the ground cools by radiating heat into space, and the air near the surface also cools. This creates a temperature inversion. cool air near the surface, warm air above, which reduces vertical mixing and causes wind to die down. Sunrise and sunset calm periods. Around sunrise, the atmosphere is still stable from the night, so winds are light. After sunrise, as the ground heats up, wind gradually picks up. At sunset, the ground starts cooling, reducing mixing and causing winds to calm again. This effect is more pronounced in clear conditions and over land, whereas over large bodies of water, wind patterns are influenced more by temperature systems and less by daily temperature swings.
So, do we have 2 out of 2? 2 out of 2 now? We talked sense
Yes,
on both.
we did.
Yeah, occasions.
Yeah.
We're not that stupid yet.
Not yet, no.
We have 2 more to check.
We do have 2 more to check.
Let's see.
So one of those.
I've checked the Finnish education system.
Okay.
I asked, do Finnish schools have classes for critical thinking, propaganda, and AI identification and fact-checking?
Mm-hmm.
So, Finnish schools emphasize critical thinking and media literacy as part of their curriculum, though they may not have specific classes titled critical thinking or propaganda and AI identification. Instead, these topics are integrated into multiple subjects, and basically they teach media literacy and propaganda awareness. They teach students to analyze media sources, recognize bias, and differentiate between trustworthy and misleading information. Critical thinking and fact-checking, they encourage inquiry-based learning, where students evaluate sources and arguments rather than memorize facts. And schools teach students to question narratives and verify facts, particularly in social studies and language classes. And AI and means information identification. While AI-specific literacy is still developing, Finnish students learn about digital tools, algorithms, and how social media influences opinions. And some schools do include AI-related discussions in information and communication technology lessons, helping students to recognize deepfakes and automated misinformation.
Okay.
So there is actually international recognition. Finland is often ranked as one of the most media literate countries, and its education system is praised for effectively equipping students to navigate modern information challenges.
Okay. Well, it's a very modern answer. I mean, sort of centered around AI and so
Well, it's
forth,
what
but
we were discussing, but we
is.
still talked sense, I think.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, we definitely got it right.
3 out of 3.
3 out of 3.
What was the last one we were going to check? So the question, is there a word for the movement of duck feet as they swim? There isn't a single widely recognized word specifically for the movement of duck feet as they swim, but paddling is the most commonly used term.
There you go.
4 out of 4.
Yeah,
We
very good.
talk sense.
I typed in, do ducks swim or paddle? And it says, ducks both swim and paddle. They paddle with their webbed feet to propel themselves through the water, which is how they swim. So while paddling describes the motion they use, swimming describes the overall activity.
Well, I was actually looking for that word. That's, so we talked sense.
I think
4
we've-
out of 4.
I think
Fact checked.
we've talked a lot of sense today then.
Yes, very little silly talk. Lots of sense.
I think there was a bit of silly talk as well. But these are the things that needed fact checking.
The things, we were not sure about our kind of, how would you call it, scientific knowledge and truth. Yeah, we talked sense.
Well, I think we've done pretty well. Should we do this again?
We should.
Shall we invite people to join us for another Ramble on a Ramble one day?
Maybe we should invite others as well if they could care to join us. Yeah, if they...
Okay. I mean, they could join us or they could just listen.
That's another idea.
All right, well, we'll join you next time for Ramble on a Ramble. Let's say bye. Yeah? Bye.
Bye. Bye.
I'm recording.
Great. So,
Hang on, wait till this goes past.
so very interestingly, and you know I like these coincidences,
Yeah.
we started our walk today from St. Mildred's Bay,
Yes.
and we finish that walk at St. Mildred's Road.
We do, yeah.
So it is
Isn't that lovely?
a circle or a cycle.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye.
let's go for a drink.
Okay.
Bye.